Welcome, everyone. The Zionist apartheid entity of Tel Aviv deployed drones and advanced aircraft in its early Friday morning aggression against the Islamic Republic, which resulted in the assassination of several high-ranking Iranian military commanders, nuclear scientists, and civilians, including women and children. Iran's response to this aggression, Operation True Promise 3, is now underway and has so far successfully targeted occupied territories with a barrage of ballistic missiles and drones, resulting in both loss of life and significant material damage. Now, the leader of Iran's Islamic Revolution, Ayatollah Sayyid Ali Khamenei, said earlier the Israeli regime will pay a heavy price for this decision. And President Masoud Pezeshkian also, as well, earlier said that as well as other top political and military brass have vowed Iran's Operation True Promise 3 will dramatically increase its retaliatory response should the Israeli occupation entity continue its aggression against Iran. And this escalation is now the focus of today's Spotlight program. And now joining us for the program, Mr. Reza Vedadi, joining us out of London, academic, researcher, and author. Mr. Vedadi, pleasure to have you join us in our Spotlight program. Sir, your thoughts on Israel's decision to carry out this aggression against Iran and now Iran's Operation True Promise 3, which Iran says is barely now in its preliminary stages of retaliation.
Well, I'd like to begin by clarifying that I don't believe this is an Israeli operation on Iran. I do believe that this is a coordinated United States and its allies, which includes the colony Israel operation against Iran. On numerous occasions, the United States had tried to lure in Iran or distract Iran with the promise of negotiations. We saw that last year when Iran, its second retaliation was delayed because of those possible negotiations. And then on this occasion, they had negotiations for several weeks where the Foreign Minister of Iran and Witkoff, the representative of President Trump, attended several rounds of negotiations. And meanwhile, news has come out that this operation has been in the planning for months, if not a year. So President Trump also knew about the plans. It's not that it was only maybe, say, parts of his cabinet or his administration or his regime was involved, but he himself was fully aware of what's going on. And we also know that the tactics they used were very similar, if not identical, to the tactics that were used by the Ukrainians supported by the Western Bloc against Russia only a week or so ago, where they attacked the Russian bombers. So a lot of evidence proves that this was in the making. The United States and various other Western countries have been involved in the planning of the attack on Iran. And I believe, and this is something that other people are discussing, that this is the United States pushing Ukraine to fight its war against Russia as a proxy, pushing Israel to fight this war against Iran as a proxy, utilizing Israel so then it could disconnect itself or place blame on Israel as opposed to itself. And we all know that Iran has become very strategically important in the last 5 to 10 years because of the rise of the BRICS and the global south, and the fact that they've had enough of this bully tactic, hegemonic imperial way of running the world by the United States and its allies. And so they're coming together, creating new financial systems, economic systems, the Belt and Road Initiative, and other ways of helping each other to trade and increase the success of their own countries without having to go through the institutions, like, for example, like the IAEA. So I believe that there's many layers to this. It's not just an Israeli attack on Iran.
And Reza, also your take on Iran's True Promise 3 here now. And we saw True Promise 1 and True Promise 2 that Iran has shown the regime that it's very capable of, one, slapping it on the wrist with a controlled deployment of ballistic missiles and drones to basically get a point across. And also it's very capable of punching it in its mouth with a complete simultaneous deployment of hundreds upon hundreds of ballistic missiles to overwhelm and pierce successfully Israeli air defenses. How does that change the equation now?
So Iran is a much larger country compared to Israel. And so Iran has a bigger land mass for it to protect against Israeli aggression through its missiles, drones, and cruise missiles, and so forth. Israel is much a smaller country. It's the size of New Jersey. Some people say maybe even smaller. And so Iran has the capability, and it's shown it in True Promise 1, True Promise 2, and in the last 24 hours, that it can easily penetrate the Iron Dome or any defense system that the Israelis have, which is supposed to be the most advanced in the world, created by the US and other allies to help defend itself. However, I think the war is past the fact that tit for tat. It's come to a point where now it will be a conflict of endurance and stamina. Is it possible for Israel, which is such a small country, small resources, as opposed to independent indigenous resources? Because we know it gets this F-35, which was the first country and the only country to hit the most advanced fifth generation plane, the F-35, has been Iran in the last 24 hours. So we know that its planes, its bombs, most of its military equipment comes from the West, Germany, UK, and United States. So if without them, is they able to continue to fight? And if they are not able to manufacture what it needs, are they able to continue to fight? However, you know that Iran relies on itself. Iran was sanctioned because of the 1980s Iraq Saddam war with Iran. And Iran had to indigenously prepare and train and invent its own weapons, the missiles that the Iranians have, the drone technology that they have, the defense technology that they have. So they can manufacture their own technology. And we know that Iran has multiple cities underground, and each one has thousands of missiles and drones. So it's possible that Iran can continue this barrage of missiles on a daily basis on the Israeli regime occupied area, to the point where the Israelis will not have any supply to defend themselves, and they will run out of supplies to be able to attack Iran. And then we have to see, would other countries, decide to get involved, or will they call it quits? And we'll see what happens from there.
Thank you, Reza. And also joining our conversation, we have Mr. David Yaghoubian, professor of history at Cal State University, San Bernardino, California. Professor Yaghoubian, always a pleasure, bud, to have you. And I wish we were talking under better circumstances, but we are not. Here we are. David, there's still no justification for Israel's aggression, except for we don't want Iran to one day build a nuclear bomb and wipe out Israel for it, without proof to back this claim. And David, I mean, the collective West should really at this point be laughing at this paranoid perspective and condemning the regime for this aggression. Why is it not?
Continuity of agenda by the apartheid state of Israel as supported by the West that you mentioned. And so what we're seeing is just basically a scripted game, and that's what Lindsey Graham is also referring to it as, that is following the playbook of the Brookings Institute, Which Path to Persia 2009 regime change script. We are currently reading from and witnessing chapter 5, which is Leave It to Bibi, where after dragging Iran through a specious, spurious series of negotiations designed to demonstrate Iran to be somehow out of compliance, when of course everyone knows that Iran has been fully in compliance with its responsibilities under the JCPOA, under international law, but creating the context for an Israeli strike in which the United States will play dumb and eventually, as per the script, come to the aid of Israel once it enters into a full-blown war with Iran. And so my point is that this is, I don't believe that, at least in terms of Western political leadership, that there is any misunderstanding regarding what is going on. And based on the press releases and statements from European political elites yesterday, they're all following the script. And so, they all come to the support of Israel, which is being attacked by Iran after a blatant attack by the apartheid state of Israel on the Islamic Republic of Iran. And so this is scripted. They are all playing the role that has been carved out for them by the American empire and its proxy, the apartheid state of Israel, to foment a war against Iran that is designed wholly to create regime change rather than really having anything to do with its civilian nuclear energy program. And Daniel, you and I have been talking about this now together on Press TV for 8 years. And so the fact that this entire process and the United States reactions to it, from the inception of the JCPOA, entering into an agreement which the United States never lived up to, and then subsequently pulling out of the agreement as Donald Trump did in May of 2018, all of this is designed to bring us to this moment where the United States can play dumb, play as it's doing with Ukraine, the sort of a neutral arbiter, while it is sicking its regional proxy against the local bulwark against its hegemony there. And that local bulwark is the Islamic Republic of Iran, and that's where we're at right now.
Thank you, David. And Reza, I'd really like to put that same question to you, if I could. Is there really any acceptable rationale for the occupation's aggression against the Islamic Republic? And where are all the condemnations, Reza? And to David's point, they're quick to condemn Iran for responding in the name of Operation True Promise 3 to Israel's aggression. But where was the condemnation, and especially against Israel's rationale for carrying out the early Friday attack on Iran?
If you live and believe that, you know, in the part of the elites that manage France and Germany and United Kingdom and United States, these, you know, hegemonic imperial powers, then you believe, yes, Israel has the right to attack Iran, and Iran does not have the right to retaliate. But these elites live in a bygone era of colonial power in the 19th, 18th, maybe part of the 20th century. Now we're in the 21st century, where Iran isn't a nation where in 1943 they came and they committed a coup d'etat and put the Mohammad Reza Pahlavi Shah back into power and controlled him and abused the country's resources. That time has gone. And Ayatollah Khamenei had made it clear that if any country attacks Iran, be it US or anyone else, we will retaliate. And he said this recently as well in the last few months. So I think that idea that we have to wait somehow for the North, global North, being, you know, the United States and Europe, to somehow condemn Israel, that's never going to happen. As I said earlier in the discussion, Israel is a colony of the United States and the European powers. So it will never condemn what is part of it, right? They will never condemn its own foreign policy, because they act on the foreign policy. And Ayatollah Khamenei, said Hassan Nasrallah, and many other Western scholars have confirmed that it's not Israel that controls, you know, the United States politics. It's the United States that uses Israel as a mechanism to inflict its foreign policy on the region, cause chaos, havoc, control, so forth and so on. People, you know, countries interline. So I don't think Iran will play the, you know, diplomatic game. It will go to the UN, it will ask for condemnation. But I don't think Iran is going to sit around waiting somehow for the global North to come out and defend Iran, because you know it's against Iran from the beginning.
Right, and David, I'm glad that Reza alluded to the U.S. role here, and you both did, and I really want to kind of get into that for a quick second. What do you call it? Insulting, deceptive, colluding, so-called indirect talks with Omani mediators, Donald Trump's role here, Steve Witkoff's role, and the U.S. really acting like Iran was going to sit down for the 6th round of talks after the events of this week unfold. What do they think? That Iran's going to come begging for help? Or please, U.S., get Israel to stop its aggression? What do they think here?
This is simply, again, it's a scripted charade that many observers have seen coming for a few months now, and several of them are reposting their tweets from a month or two ago, after the point 2 months ago, roughly, in which Donald Trump made his threat that the bombs would start falling if an agreement wasn't reached, that laid out what was to come, which was 2 months of this sort of specious, feigned good cop, bad cop framework, in which Donald Trump posited himself as the neutral arbiter between Israel and Iran, really earnestly seeking a deal. No one really bought that then, outside of those who watch mainstream media. Unfortunately, no one's buying that now. But nevertheless, and again, to the point that I was making, and my colleague I was also advancing, this is all scripted. And so the reactions of European elites. The reaction right now, or the supposed reaction of Donald Trump, as he came out and said, oh, well, you know, we can still return to the negotiating table. This is all part of the regime change script. Really, I hate to continue to allude to it, but it's the blueprint. They have drawn from Which Path to Persia, and this has all been scripted. And so this is the point at which, after dragging Iran for years through a negotiation process designed to demonstrate Iran to have failed, even though there is no evidence of that, it just doesn't matter. They are full steam ahead with their regime change agenda, which includes this exchange between Iran and Israel, which, as per the plan, will eventually lead to American engagement as well, unfortunately.
And Reza, would you like to also weigh in on that? U.S. saying just yesterday, Donald Trump said there is still a window for diplomacy. I mean, it seems like this entire process of so-called diplomacy by the Americans was at literal gunpoint over the last few weeks. And your thoughts, to David's point, that this was all fully scripted from the gate.
As my colleague Professor Yaroubian said, you really have to be living on another planet to genuinely think that the United States, I mean, many of us predicted this, we saw this, Ayatollah Khamenei advised the Iranian negotiations. You have to live on a different planet or completely cuckoo, or there must be some nuts loose. That you genuinely think the United States really wants to negotiate a peace settlement regarding this issue. They have, as Professor Yaroubian clearly said, they have an agenda going back before 2009, since 1979 revolution, of finding ways of having regime change in Iran. And it's been clear. They've discussed the Libyan model. President Trump and Netanyahu have clearly stated we want to do another Libyan model on Iran. And recently, yesterday, after the attack on Iran, Netanyahu came out and clearly said that, you know, we've set the ground ready for those in Iran who want to uprise and regime change to do it now. So this is a clear script, clear plan to regime change. It has nothing to do with nuclear weapons. It has nothing to do with Iran's missile power. It has nothing to do with any of these issues. These issues have, or the human rights issues, these issues have always been used as an excuse to pressure Iran. And it's really coming to a point where it's break or next. So if they are successful now to regime change in Iran, then they've weakened Russia and China and the global South. But if Iran comes out on the top of this and is successful, and God willing it will be, then the tide has changed and it will be a faster transition of power from the west to the east.
And David, what we've seen through Operation True Promise 1, 2, and now 3, and I should also emphasize 3, is far from over. What have we learned? That we're now in an era where Iran has ended Israel's freedom to attack with no consequences. The time of restraint and strategic patience with the Zionist entity is far gone.
I fully agree, and just to add to my colleague Reza's excellent points, one of the reasons as well that we are witnessing this exchange based on the unilateral Israeli attack is because of the weakness of both the American empire as well as the apartheid state of Israel at this juncture. And so if one just thinks, and it's kind of hard, but to remember the news of the last few weeks just on the run-up to the Israeli attack, Benjamin Netanyahu's on his last legs. Donald Trump continues to fail on every single front, foreign policy, domestically. People are in the streets. Things are burning in the United States, the streets of Los Angeles, just close to where I'm speaking right now. The Israeli government is ready to fall apart. The apartheid state of Israel's economy has been destroyed. Its social fabric, if it ever existed, has been ripped up. And so yet another reason that we are experiencing what we are experiencing right now, and by necessity, the Islamic Republic of Iran is pummeling the Zionists as it has promised. Now we are, as you stated, witnessing True Promise 3 in progress. So I believe that the only question, and in my mind this is answered, is the level of malevolence and evil in the hearts and minds of the Zionists and their American enablers and supporters related to their eventual threat to use nuclear weapons against Iran, as they've already threatened to use them against the people of Gaza. So again, I don't think that should come as any surprise. But my final point would be that we should not expect the escalation ladder to end in terms of its rungs, because we're dealing with a very desperate apartheid state of Israel on its last legs.
Right, and Mr. Vedadi, when it comes to the U.S. and the Israeli regime's machinations and plots and plans for West Asia, when it comes to regional policy, does stability, does calm, does security have any, and peace, I should say, for that matter, have any or play any role in their regional plans?
No, not really. I mean, they thrive on chaos. They thrive on disunity. They thrive on division between the Muslim Arab countries. If you look, no Arab country gets on with another Arab country other than if it's being bought out. Unless Saudi Arabia is paying billions to Egypt, they wouldn't be friends. We saw that Qatar, which was part of the Saudi Arabian Persian Gulf Arab country alliances, and within one night they were about to invade the country. And it wasn't for Iran and Turkey providing aid to them. They were blockaded. They wouldn't survive, a small country like that. So these countries, the United States and the Europeans have played for 300-400 years the theory of divide and conquer, and they've been playing it very well. I'm just surprised that country from the global south, we have not woken up to this yet, and it's taken us so long to realize that the United States, when it comes in and it says to Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar, give me your money, and then afterwards calls them a cash cow, disrespects them. Sometimes in front of them, the United States is disrespecting them. They don't even use diplomacy anymore. So when you have this kind of control going on, then it's very clear that they don't want peace and stability, because what peace and stability does is show the countries in the region, especially in the West Asian region, is like, why do we have to sell our oil like Iraq does and leave and give the dollar cash to the bank account in the United States? Why are we not having it in our own bank accounts here and spending it on what we need? So people start to develop ideas that are for the betterment of their own country when they're at peace. But when the countries are constantly at war and chaos, like in Syria, like in Lebanon, like in Palestine, like in Iraq, when do they have time to sit down and say, how can we develop our own countries and be independent? So this is something that the United States and the Europeans, unfortunately, someone who lives in Europe and is brought up in Europe, sees this on a regular basis, that they thrive on chaos, division, and fitna, as I said.
You know what, we're practically out of time. I really wanted, less than 40 seconds, David. Iran's leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, earlier said that it's critical that Israel, and it will receive a crushing response, thorough punishment for this decision. How important is it, the magnitude of response, the scale of response in True Promise 3 for what Israel's done in the past 2 days, this aggression against the Islamic Republic?
It is absolutely essential that Iran deliver the most thorough pummeling of the genocidal apartheid state of Israel as possible on a sustained level until, at the very least, the Zionists wave the white flag in this short-term round, and then ultimately bringing the genocide to an end, which is what this is really all about from Iran and Hezbollah's perspective and the perspective of the axis of resistance, in line with international law and human values, and then let the chips fall where they may. And if that is where things ended, the apartheid state of Israel is again on its last legs.
Gentlemen, thank you both for joining us on the program. Stay safe to the both of you. Mr. Reza Vedadi joining us from London, and Professor David Yaghoubian joining us from San Bernardino, California. And viewers, thanks for tuning in. This brings us to the end of your Press TV Spotlight program. Stay safe, and goodbye for now.